former UCSD oncologist $39 million.
$39 million.
Breaking news, I Talk TMS. What happens when a doctor receives a $10 million donation, doesn't receive it, a university stands in the way?
It all stems from a dispute with the university over a $10 million donation,
even though the donor has already passed away.
When one of his patients and local philanthropists, Charles Kreutzkamp, died of cancer and left $10 million to UC San Diego for use in research. The doctor says that didn't happen.
All right, you guys, Kyle Hartfield here. I Talk TMS with some wonderful, wonderful news. But first, a great guest once again, Dr. Kevin Murphy, back with us, a huge contributor to this channel. The man, the myth, the guy who saved my life, a dear friend, if I may call you, sir.
Oh, how nice.
I know we have a lot to get through, but some humongous information. Obviously, the lawsuit. I want to know how this money came to be. How did you receive the donation of the $10 million?
Well, as a cancer doctor treating the brain and specializing in radiosurgery, we often would have patients who needed to be tuned up following their chemo radiation. A lot of the brain fog and the sleeplessness was predominant in our patients. So one of my patients was treated with chemo brain and had a remarkable response, started to ambulate better, was more clear, approached me and said, I want to help you in a bigger way. How can I help you in a bigger way? So, well, I need research to be done. I need to get these trials done. They're about $2 million a piece to run a trial.
Okay.
I want to do 5 trials. So I need like $10 million.
$10 million.
And I was saying that sort of tongue in cheek. He was a Kaiser patient. I had no idea that he had any resources.
Oh, wow.
And so when he looked at me and said, "It's yours." And I said, "Well, that's great." Thinking he was just kind of kidding. I didn't realize he was worth half a $1 billion. And he was going to actually fund us. So I directed him to my account at the university and said, "Put it in my index account and then we'll do that work." And that's one of the last times I spoke to him following his death, maybe 2 or 3 months later. Where he
2
was
or 3 months after he donated this money,
yeah.
he passed away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that point, the university, had a deceased donor on their hands, and the instead of that money being shepherded toward the correct place, it was taken to a different location and use, and that's when the whole thing started.
His passing made that possible?
Well, I would just say that what we joke about this a bit, that the university likes donors, but they love dead donors because then they get to use the money how they want. That's a bit of a tough statement, but that's, I think, the reality. The reality is there's a lot of
layers. I'm hearing.
Say again.
That's what I'm hearing.
It's not an uncommon problem. This is not just the University of California. This is what happens in a lot of academic centers. Money comes in, and various leaders want to use that money for their own purpose, and they redirect it.
What they see fit.
They commandeer it, and they use it for their purpose. And in this case, I just stood up to that and said, "That's not right. This was for this research." And I think
it's sad that someone had to stand up to that. Number one. Number two, especially because it was donated for a specific cause. The cause being TMS, which helps so many people, has the possibility. I mean, there's organizations, there's nonprofits that are based around the advancement of TMS. And here you are fighting to advance TMS through a university.
Yeah. It was not even a university patient. It was a Kaiser patient that I directed towards the university. So
I was going to say, this is your personal patient who you treated. And the only reason that you directed it to the university is because you were an employee of the university, right?
I felt that the university would do the right thing, and we would get the trials done, because that's what universities are supposed to do.
That's what it's supposed to happen.
I was a bit naive that amount of money was going to actually end up in my account. And 6 months.
Best intentions, right?
Yeah, 6 months went by before I was even told it was there, and they'd already earmarked the money toward other their own other research and other things. So
So donation comes in, you don't even know it for 6 months. By the time you know that $10 million is there, you already see it's gone.
Yeah, I was told to play my cards right, and that if I played my cards right, I might get 2 or 3 million of that money. But I had to play my cards right, which meant, be quiet, and this is the way it's going to be.
Wow.
And we're taking those funds for our own purpose. So, yeah, it made me want to fight. Obviously, I felt for the donors, edification, and also for the research to get done. But this was not the right way to manage, a large.
When you already said at that time he's already passed away, right?
Yeah, his widow though came into the university and said,
"That's right.
All this money goes to Dr. Murphy."
That's right.
That was the intent, and
bless her heart.
Bless her heart, and really, she was the reason why they were able to finally capitulate and say, "You're right. We'll move it back into your account, Dr. Murphy."
When you said she came in, you mean she came in and told the jury that?
No. Well, she came into the jury as well. She came into the courtroom.
Okay.
But prior to that, she came to the university after they had misdirected it and said, no, this is, my husband wanted it to go to Dr. Murphy's research on PRTMS. And so they were sort of forced to take it back from all the places they'd already allotted it and put it into an index that I controlled. Wow. But then it was like, good luck using the money, Dr. Murphy. Here's your money back, but good luck. And they made it very, very difficult to do anything with it.
Tell me more about that, though, because that was going to be one of my questions. Did you eventually get the money? Were you able to use the money? Were you able to use all of it, right?
Yeah. So I'd say we started to build out space. I rented equipment or bought equipment, but a remodeled large 6,000 square foot office. And it was going to be the largest center probably in the United States for TMS.
Okay.
With 12 machines.
On the campus?
It was off campus in the Rancho Bernardo area in Forest Ranch.
Okay.
And it was a beautiful facility built out with all the right specs, and
6,000 square feet, 12 machines.
12 machines.
Dedicated all to research.
Yes.
Which is basically treating people, right? With the variation. Number one, cancer patients. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
No, I know
people are suffering from chemo, radiation, right? And if you're just easing their lives just a little bit,
yeah,
there's a university standing in the way of that.
Well, like I say, I think it's a shame because we had the trials written, the IRB that runs the trials had approved some, but there was a constant roadblock being put in my way. And then they started to investigate me. And when they start investigating you, everything stops. So it's a way to stop a professor in their tracks by saying, you're under investigation. Well, what for? Well, we're not going to tell you what for.
Yeah.
I wasn't told what they were investigating, what was the problem.
For how long?
They're going to find something.
For how long were you in the dark about what was
probably at least a year and a half.
Wow.
And then when I finally pressed them and had an attorney saying, tell us what you're investigating, they were claiming there was misused equipment and we sold property, which wasn't true. But yeah, the lawsuit went on for 9 weeks. It was unanimous decision by
the trial went on for 9 weeks.
Trial went on, yeah. I'm sorry. The trial went on
because the lawsuit you've been dealing with
I'm sorry.
for a long time.
I meant to say trial.
Right, okay.
Trial went on for 9 weeks, and jury came back with 1 day of deliberation with a 12-0 verdict on every count.
Nice.
So 120 to 0, really, on the counts we had against the university. I think that they just were fed up when they saw the evidence, which was so overwhelmingly in our favor. The university destroyed evidence. They destroyed documents that were important. They had break-ins to their real estate office and stole our contract. Police reports were falsified. It was a very intentional process that they put me through. They basically say, like, we're going to take you out. This is how we play. If you want to play against us, this is how we're going to play.
Yeah.
And they have spent millions and millions and millions of dollars going after me. And now they're $44 million.
44 million in debt.
Yeah,
so originally when I read the article, it said 39.
Well, we added our attorney's fees on, to that at the end. And there's also, as they go through a process potentially of appeal, they're gonna have to pay 7% on 44 million.
Oh, that's right, huh?
So it could add up to another 2 or 3 million per year on top of that while they go through an appeal process.
Well, and that's not even including their attorney's fees, time, yada, 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 right?
True.
All of that. You come look at it. I mean, that's at least $50 million to try and stand in the way of 10.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
When you're a university and all of that money could have gone to advancing TMS, which is what we were trying to do in the first place.
Well, my hope is at some point the university decides to move on and to not fight this any longer. They've been fighting it for 8 years. It's been 8 years of my life taken up managing this lawsuit. I think that they created quite a bit of negative publicity for us, which was not necessary, which hurts people, hurts patients.
Right.
Some people read that and don't know what to believe. We were shocked to find out that all the paper articles that were coming out that were negative were put out by a university regent.
It's
we were
so
suing.
funny, Doc. Again, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I personally, right, I met you after all of that had started. After most of those articles and hit pieces were done, I didn't know anything about it when you treated me.
Yeah.
I had no clue about any of these things, right? I'm treated by you. You saved my life. My mother goes on and she's like, who is this man? Oh my God, did you see all this stuff about Dr. Murphy? And I'm like, no, right? I had no clue.
Yeah.
Well, she sent me a bunch, right? I looked at it and it was funny to me because, like I said, you had already saved my life at that point, right?
Yeah.
So what did it matter? But I can only how many people saw all that stuff and that affects you? Not, I'm sure still to today, that stuff doesn't come off the internet.
Yeah, no, it used to be where that paper was gone and the people forget. In this case, it's a bit indelible when they do kind of a hit piece on you. Those things can be on there forever.
Yeah.
And I think most people read through that and see how it's very one-sided. And clearly, once they see the verdict compared to those stories, they don't match up anymore. Why would why would the jury after 9 weeks you have a unanimous decision like they did?
Right.
If they did that was
fast
true.
Too.
Yeah. I think it just goes to the unfortunate problem we have in society where you're guilty till by association or by accusation. To say something out there and just try and destroy your credibility. And that's kind of a tactic for whistleblowers. They go after whistleblowers with this very tactic. We're going to destroy you publicly. We're going to humiliate you. We're going to try and make you the bad guy so that we don't look like the bad guy. And that's what they did here. And I was just stubborn enough to fight them. and luckily I had attorneys that took my case on contingency, the whole case.
Oh, okay.
So that was why I was able to fight the University of California. So it's a David versus Goliath story that
8 years of attorney's fees is not a pretty sight. That's a hefty bill, right?
Yeah. So those attorneys that took the case, of course, were fabulous and able to take that because they really felt strongly in the in the outcome, and they wanted to defend whistleblower rights. So very grateful to the group that the law firm that helped do that for me.
Thank God you had the fortitude to push through this. So many people would just crumble in this situation and just throw their hands up and I can't fight it, right?
Yeah.
What gave you the fortitude to push through?
Jesus. That's about it.
Oh.
That's about it. The entire thing. My prayer life and my ability to rely upon God and just say I'm gonna stand up to this. I think was the best thing, most powerful thing for me. There's no way around it.
Amen.
No way around it. Thank you, Jesus.
I'm so glad that you fought that good fight, Doc.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I know, and now we're going to see this advance. We've got a lot of momentum to help create even a better program. We have a lot of data now collecting in this EEG file. We have 55,000 EEGs now, probably one of
Okay.
the largest databases, and all those patients have had TMS. So it probably is the biggest database, of course, on EEG and TMS in the world. And it's a very smart algorithm, and it predicts and tells us where to treat on the head, what frequency to use, the length of the train, number of trains, the interval, the overall dose. It tells us all those things, and that dose is what matters in a lot of our care and a lot of medicine in general. You have to have the right dose, and I would say that that's what we're really trying to perfect is our dose.
Is it fair to assume that all of this has stood in the way of you getting all this FDA approved?
Maybe. I mean, I think the FDA approval process really, it will happen at some point for indications once the trials are done, because you do want to have a proven trial for an indication to get the FDA approval. That seems like the best, fastest track. So that's
the same protocols FDA approved.
Yeah, there's other. I mean, with very little data. 26 patients on that.
Right.
Shocking. So
right, you're talking about 55,000
EEGs. Yeah, and probably 12,000 patients, 13,000 patients. So
okay,
we have a very large amount of retrospective data. The algorithm kept evolving over time and getting smarter and smarter.
algorithm,
so
right?
It's now at the point where it's a machine learned system, and it's taking into account the history of all the other patients that had responses. It looks at the math of the brain, really. So it's kind of very, very analytical and quantitative in that way. But yeah, eventually that's something we're going to seek is FDA approval. At the moment, we give what we call a clinical decision-making tool. And my goal is to give doctors and enable doctors, empower them to have personalized protocols. And that's my goal, is to let them see and practice medicine, but have a very nice tool to use to help magnify the benefit.
Hey guys, if you found that video informational, want to see more, do me a favor, click this video right here while I enjoy my TMS sessions. Did you click it? Click it already. TMS, it's life-changing. This video right here is going to help you.